Welcome inside the After Hours Lounge on a Monday night. Jimmy Allen, John Schreiner, Dan Campen, and Brody Heidemann with you here tonight. Full house inside the After Hours Lounge, brought to you by Bellevue University. Head over to bellevue.edu. Register for classes. You can attend Bellevue University as early as this fall. Come Bruin. Don't go to class on Fridays. Do most of your classes online. It's a great experience. Check out Bellevue University. We've got a great show lined up for you tonight. Former Nebraska Cornhusker, current Omaha Supernova, Caitlin Horton is going to join us at 6:15, talk about her first season with the Novas and what it's like to be back in the state of Nebraska. Coaching rehab, who has benefited the most from another stint around the sun in the NFL and college football? We will buy or sell on several different topics, including can Fred Hoiberg save his job? 7:15, Marcus Satterfield, speaking of coaches saving jobs, is still on staff in Lincoln. No payment adjustment has been reported yet. Do we care? We'll debate at 7:15. At 7:30, what did we get right? What did we get wrong? And what did we not see coming about this season in the NFL? I have an apology ready for John Schreiner in that segment.
Whoa.
And at 7:45, we will give you our Papillion Sanitation trash takes of the night. 402-951-1620 is how you can get a hold of the show. We can also follow the show at After Hours 1620 on Twitter. This was supposed to be a day of celebration. We were supposed to have pom-poms and rah-rahs around here, but John Schreiner's beloved Washington Commanders came up short in the NFC Championship game.
That they did.
The Saquon Barkley 60-yard run on the first play from scrimmage
Not a good sign.
Probably be the highlight of his Hall of Fame speech and video package that they play before he gets his
Not if he does it in the Super Bowl, too.
That's true, but I guarantee you it's in the package somewhere because it was pretty good. Broke 5 tackles along the way, but the Commanders were plagued by problems that they were plagued by all year. Swiss cheese style defense, middle of the pack, turnover margin. They were +1, exactly 16th in the NFL. They had 5 in this game. That's not going to be too many people. That's definitely not going to beat a team as good as the Nick Sirianni-led Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, when you play no semblance of defense, it's really hard to overcome turnovers, right? You can do it. You can turn the ball over a few times and still win the game if you play good defense. But the Commanders have been playing no semblance, nothing approaching defense all season long.
This is arguably one of the better defensive performances.
But honestly, they haven't been playing defense all year. They've just been reliant on the opponent making enough mistakes and the offense scoring enough points.
Usually with about 8 minutes left in the game.
And that's what they've been, building this whole run into the NFC Championship game on. And that fell apart as it was eventually going to do. It just fell apart in dramatic and spectacular fashion.
The crazy thing about the first 3 turnovers, though, that Washington had, is if they would have scored a touchdown on those plays, they would have taken the lead. All 3 of them. So it's not like the defense was really messing down their leg completely in the first half because they had a shot 3 different times to take the lead and they turned the ball over. But it's incredible to me that you can do that 5 times in the first 3. You still have a chance. I mean, that just shows you how prolific that Washington offense was.
The offense is fantastic. They've just and Dan Quinn's a defense guy. I think he'll get it fixed. Personnel is a big problem, especially in the secondary.
First 4 draft picks, all defense.
I honestly would not be surprised if it is a defense-heavy draft.
I would really like to see Zach Ertz come back for one more season, too. He was on a 1-year, $3 million contract, and
so Bobby Wagner's on a 1-year deal as well.
He's 30. Ertz is 34. He got a huge applause from Eagles fans, which for a city that's not known for its sportsmanship and friendliness towards the competition, that was really cool to see. But I don't know if we talked about that enough because obviously Terry McLaurin got all of the love from what Jaden Daniels was able to do and how you were able to build that offense and his number 1 weapon. But I don't know if you get the productivity in year 1 of Jaden Daniels with that big time experienced tight end that could take that much pressure and get you some clutch catches.
Yeah, it's the security blanket, right?
Yeah, he had 11 on Sunday.
That's the guy that, I mean, every young quarterback needs on the roster. Patrick Mahomes had Travis Kelce from day 1.
We're going to get to that in a minute.
And it's the tight end is always that stabilizing force, it seems like, for a young quarterback, or not.
Right, yeah. Or it's a giant gaping hole that you need fixed.
Look at the Chicago Bears. Cole Kmet didn't have a great year.
Yeah, or Mark Andrews. Not too soon. Sorry. Dan, you got a thought? You look like you were waiting to say something.
Oh, no. I mean, I was just kind of letting you guys play as you will. But, I mean, for all the bad that the Washington Commanders had overall for the entire game on Sunday, it wasn't that bad until the second half.
Right.
Yeah.
There was 55 points. I don't care.
There was a lot of time in that
21 in the
first
fourth
half
quarter
where I kept on turning to the wife and saying, they're called the Cardiac Commanders for a reason. They play down quite a bit all season and just find ways to make other teams mess up. Just turns out that against the Nick Sirianni-led Eagles, that there weren't a lot of opportunities for them to mess up all that much.
Jalen Hurts only had 16 rushing yards in this game, and it felt like he went for $150 just because of how much his legs made the Commanders keep him in check and keep him accountable for. And it opened up so many running lanes for Saquon Barkley and Will Shipley. And every time you've seen Will Shipley or Saquon Barkley go one direction, there was somebody trailing Jalen Hurts to the other side.
Listen, it could have been the corpse of George Blanda playing quarterback for the Eagles. There would have been running lanes for Saquon Barkley.
I think that's illegal.
The Commanders' run defense has been atrocious all year. Like, it's just that's the facts. It's just been something they've been playing with, a bad run defense.
I know, but
they've managed to overcome it.
For all the love Saquon Barkley gets, and sorry, Giants fans, he deserves it. And that clip of you guys debating whether he's ever going to go for 2,000 yards again or if his career is over is going to live rent free in every NFL fan's heads forever. But I don't think Jalen gets enough credit because of the quarterback sneak stuff and some of the times that he's missed some throws on third downs, etc. He makes that offense go. Like, as good as Saquon is, he would obviously still be great without Jalen Hurts. I don't know if he would be as efficient.
I don't know, man. I think I have to disagree because that he's running behind the best offensive line in the NFL. It is a road grader offensive line.
It is almost
doesn't matter who's.
It is a lot easier to run the football if you have somebody else in that backfield that is making that defense accountable, though.
Yeah,
but to John's point, when your offensive line is consistently getting to the second level with not one, but most of the time
really
with two guys. I saw Jordan Mailata on that 60-yard run block 3 separate people.
He's
guys.
downfield.
I said he would still be really good. I actually think I said great. I just didn't think he would be as efficient. So we're cutting hairs here. But Philly, like, they just could do no wrong in that game either. Like, it's one thing to have optional defensive plays available on the other side of the ball, but like when Saquon's basically hitting at another level, and you're talking about a great player already, and A.J. Brown gets you 6 for 96, and oh, by the way, Dallas Goedert is having this renaissance over the last 4 games as well. It's kind of hard to lose a football game like that.
Especially to a team that doesn't play defense. I mean...
And it's still kind of building the plane while they're flying it.
Right. I think that, like, Philadelphia almost... outside of Saquon Barkley, seems like they flew under the radar this season because the big story... Because
everybody was waiting for Sirianni to mess down his legs.
For sure, but the big story in the NFC was the Lions and the Vikings,
right,
in the NFC North, and that race, and then the sudden, unexpected resurgence of the Washington Commanders. And it was almost like Washington was a bigger story than the team that won that division.
Agreed. I think they were, and most people's.
And now we're at the Super Bowl, and it's like, oh, hold on,
hey, Philly's really good.
Are really good.
Yeah. And listen, I think they might be the better of the two teams, but we'll get into that in a minute. Going to the other side of the AFC game,
real quick. I just want to give one thing, and I know it's probably not as much around here, but Eagles fans, this is just a PSA to you.
Uh-oh.
Jalen Carter did not fall into your lap. We all know why he, quote unquote, fell in the draft. Stop making it seem like you guys have the greatest front office in all of sports because you have Jalen Carter on your team.
Took the flyer on him, though, and that's got to count for something, I guess.
We'll just leave it there.
Okay.
Because I don't want to bring anything else up.
We better, and I mean this better happen every single year, get Pat Mahomes versus Josh Allen. I don't care what you have to do in the NFL front offices. Make this a thing. Because if we can get it twice a year, Get your popcorn ready. I'm all here.
It's
for
the
it.
best ticket in sports right now.
Easily.
I mean, the NFL went out of its way. I think they sacrificed a few goats and did some seances to make sure we got Brady versus Manning every year. Please make this a thing. Like, it's good.
It's really good.
They combined for 40 of 60 passing. That's all right. They went for 3 touchdowns and no picks through the air. Both of them rushed the ball for 11 times. You know what I did not have on my bingo card? Patrick Mahomes outrushing and scoring more touchdowns with his feet than Josh Allen.
Dude, this is a huge point. Like, Kansas City did a tremendous job of keeping Josh Allen from making back-breaking runs. He got some yards, he made some gains, but he wasn't able to do the thing that he normally does, where it's 3rd and long, 3rd and like 14, and he runs for 17 yards down the sideline. And they just never let him do that.
They were willing to let everybody else beat them.
Right. And that's the thing that everybody has stumbled against Buffalo. It's like, well, like Josh Allen, like he's a good runner, but it's fine.
Yeah.
And then it's not fine.
Yeah, he's probably the best runner on the field.
Kansas City was so good at keeping him from making those game-breaking plays.
Or even short down conversions.
Yeah, right.
Barely.
The drive extending. Like, even when he would like roll that, he's so dangerous when he gets outside the pocket. Because of that threat to run the ball, coverage starts to break down, and he's able to find those throws down the field. They stuck to their coverage. They played excellent on defense. And look, it pains me to compliment the Kansas City Chiefs. You know that about me. But that defensive performance was really good.
How does Spags not have a head coach?
He doesn't want to leave.
And I know
He
that,
did.
but he wanted to.
He was bad.
But how is he not coaching somewhere else?
Because Chris Jones wouldn't go with him.
Some guys are just not head coach material, man. Like, it just doesn't work that way.
I think he'll get another shot when he wants it, but I don't know if he's going to want it, especially in the time frame in which his age would allow him to take a head coaching job.
Chris Jones said as much last night on SVP.
Yeah.
He was like, I honestly don't care. He was like, I'm really surprised that Spags hasn't gotten another head coaching job, but we're really glad we have him.
I'm glad he hasn't. Yeah.
I mean, how much longer is Andy Reid going to go? Like, he might be the next in line in KC.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, is there's probably a few people that are like, Andy, how old are you again?
Yeah. There's one more thing about this game, and it became a big story I think we need to address.
Okay.
It's perhaps the most boring conversation in sports, but it's the one that's out there right now.
Dylan Rolla looks like Patrick Mahomes.
No, not that. That's also very boring.
Okay.
Could be your social media soundbite.
But this
Spoiler
insistence that the NFL is rigged, that the
I'm
NFL,
glad you brought this up.
The
Go
NFL
ahead.
wants Kansas City to win, that the referees are somehow rigging the game for Kansas City. Like,
have you seen the score bug malfunction? This is my favorite one.
Listen to me. Do not fall into this lazy trap of intellectual, childish behavior.
Thank you. Preach, my brother.
And
402-951-1620.
saying that the game is rigged, right? The Bills did not play well enough to win the game. End of the story, plain and simple. And I'll tell you this. Even if the referees did want Kansas City to win,
I thought Buffalo got more of the calls last night, by the way.
even if that's true, the Bills still didn't play well enough to win.
No.
They could have. They had chances to take that game. And if it's rigged against them, they could have beaten the rig had they made a few plays. All of these questionable calls that you're seeing on Twitter and your social media, those didn't decide the game. You know what decided the game?
Patrick Mahomes being the best football player on the planet.
Nobody on the Bills knew that Steve Spagnuolo was going to blitz on 4th down and they didn't keep an extra man in to protect. Nobody realized that.
Crazy.
Yeah, also, Andy
Dalton
Reid,
Kincaid drops a pass that he could catch.
yeah, in his hands. Also, Andy Reid put in some RJP run, let him win the game when he hadn't had a touch and only had 2 reps in the entire game up until that point.
Come on now.
Dan, the score, by the way, and this is a PSA to everybody out there that doesn't work in television or radio. The officials can't see the score bug at the bottom of the screen. So the fact that CBS said it was 1st and 10 on 2nd and 7, and the first down marker was still 7 yards away, and the marker on the field said 2nd down, matters more than what you're seeing on your television. I'm throwing that out there. Also, the interference call, or sorry,
I thought you were talking about the 2-minute warning score bug thing.
No.
No, there was a there was a first down. The Chiefs got the first down, and Mahomes scrambles out and gets 3 on second down. And the score bug refreshed and said 1st and 10 again, but it was clearly 2nd and 7 on the field. And also the debate about the interception that wouldn't even have mattered because there was defensive holding on the play was 100% a catch by Kansas City. I don't know what the hell people on the internet were talking about. Like it was either a catch by Kansas City or an incomplete pass. He was completely under the ball.
Yeah.
Like we've got to stop doing this. Like people are going out of their way looking for these things now that don't even exist.
Hold on. Before, because I know John's going to be the voice of reason. We don't need reason right now. The ball touched the ground on that one play.
Right.
And again, no matter how you rule it, if you rule it an incomplete pass or an interception or a reception, if you go back and watch that in slow motion on the monitor, the call stands no matter which way.
Right.
Any one of the 3 calls, that stands either way because you could argue it every way to Sunday and it would come out roses every time.
I didn't see any way it was an interception.
Same thing with the 4th and 1 stop where Josh Allen got it, didn't get it.
Thank you.
That one.
By the way, guys, if the camera's not directly down the line of scrimmage, it's at an angle. I guess we needed to explain that to people for that didn't understand. If you have a sideways look at the ball,
And
that means that you're off kilter from where the line
also,
is.
the yellow line isn't always the first down marker the second the ball gets over it.
Yeah. Also, it isn't.
And spotting the ball's an inexact science. Like we deal with this every game.
I think it's important to point out that nobody in this room is a Chiefs fan too while we're going through this.
Honestly.
I also think it's really important to point out, Jimmy, that we do actually have a camera that is directly on the line because they set down a marker that is literally a giant pylon.
And do you know what that
right
showed? It was
on
not
the
a
line.
first down.
Yeah.
What a weird concept.
So
Did it feel like Patrick Mahomes was going out of his way to show toughness after all the flopping discussion this week? And specifically the first touchdown run where he lowered his shoulder. Because you could tell he thought about sliding.
yeah.
And he was like, well, I can't Google myself after this game if I do this. So let me go ahead and lower my shoulder here. I mean,
Hey.
hats off to him. He played tough. He played
Listen,
tall.
athletes don't listen to what they say in the media, though.
Oh, yeah, that's what they tell you. It looked like it, though, right? It looked
No,
like he was
it
clearly
didn't.
okay. I
because
could not disagree with anything you've ever said more. But
there
go
are
ahead.
many times in that game where the defense laid off of Patrick Mahomes because he did that little
The Kenny Pickett's move.
Am I gonna slide? Am I not gonna slide?
But
Look at me, I got fancy fluffy hair.
In
Am
the
I gonna slide? Am I
In
gonna
the
slide?
big play moments that he knew was going to be highlighted, he made a point to lower his shoulder and make it look impactful.
Yeah, let's watch out for that in the Super Bowl there, Patrick, because you were kind of starting to lower your head. You
Yeah.
can't hit anyone with the crown of your helmet.
My last point on the
go
officiating
ahead.
here. For years, we had to sit and watch on social media as the myriad Kansas City Chiefs fans complained and whined and moaned about how the officials were out to get them, and they always got bad calls against them, and the other team just got lucky whenever they lost, and it was just a
Don't disrespect the Chiefs.
misfortune whenever they didn't win. And now the shoe's on the other foot. Don't be like that. Don't play into this narrative that Kansas City gets all the calls. Like, go back and watch every game of the season and like watch how many calls are questionable, missed, makeup call. Like, it happens every week. The only reason it's a narrative around Kansas City is because of the success that they have and the quarterback that plays for them, who's one of the probably two best to ever do it.
All right,
Right?
Nick, right.
They have a tremendous amount of attention on them right now. So this narrative has been built by a bunch of people who are lazy in their thinking that the NFL's rigged and that Kansas City gets all the calls. And don't fall into this trap. Don't outsource your thinking to babies on the internet. Think for yourself. Watch
Also,
the game.
Yeah, watch the game. But if you're going to subject yourself to maybe not being able to watch the game and watching these clips or videos on YouTube, watch the whole thing and don't just listen to what they're saying. I'm with you. Better game between the two, in your opinion.
Oh, it's obvious.
The softball folks, yeah. The
There's no question.
Bills Chiefs. It's crazy that like it just delivers
Every time.
single time. Like no matter what, doesn't matter what Vegas said, doesn't matter what happened earlier in the year. It's a great game every single time.
Yeah.
Go.
It's the cream of the crop, man. I mean, the two best teams, the two best coaches, the two best quarterbacks. Like,
I think the Bills need to hire like a crack investigation team to find out how you could string together an 8-minute drive with 8:14 left on the clock to beat this team because they just find a way to leave them time to win the game, or Kansas City finds a way to snuff out the fire and just run out the
last
clock.
time they only left them 13 seconds, and Kansas City managed
Still
to find
did
a way.
Yeah, I mean, I was really before that third down conversion to P. Ryan, I was really excited to see like what it would look like if Josh Allen got the ball back and how much time they were going to actively try to leave on the clock if they were able to score. And then Andy Reid just went, "Oh yeah, I'm the best play designer in all of football. Oh, and I got the best quarterback. We win." Hey, if you missed the opening segment or thought on the championship game this weekend, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620 is brought to you by Allo Fiber. If you're dealing with old school internet or cable services, get an upgrade that 2025 deserves. Listen, I just got the outdoor extender put in my backyard. I walked all the way to my neighbor's property and still could contact my Wi-Fi. If you want better Wi-Fi outside your house for holiday parties or maybe the summer coming up this year, check out allofiber.com today. We'll be right back interviewing one of the newest Omaha Supernovas as well as a former Cornhusker right here on 1620 The Zone.
Hey everybody, John Schreiner here as I echo through my own computer for Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. Hey, there's a huge clearance sale going on right now. I know you love sales. I love sales. Who doesn't? You save a little money. You look great. Jerry Ryan's got 50 to 75% off suits and sport coats. And if you like polos, if you like shirts, if you like sweaters, good time of year for sweaters, 25 to 50% off. You need a new jacket? Jackets are 25% off. Don't go through the winter looking like a bum in your old ripped up jacket. Get a new one. Look great. Get it from 78th and Dodge, Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. And as always, they got the Husker and Jays gear and all your favorite brands, the Peter Millar, the Johnny O, the Cutter and Buck. Get yourself over there. 78th and Dodge. Don't miss the big January clearance sale. See John, Dan, Jake, Deanne, and Mo near the Taylor. Because Jerry Ryan's been dressing Omaha for over 50 years.
Mostly clear and cooling off tonight. Low temperature near 24. Mostly sunny, breezy, very warm on Tuesday. A high around 57. And still mostly sunny and mild on Wednesday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV News Watch 7.
Are you watching the water slowly seep down the drain again? Go with a local solution. Go with trusted. AX Plumbing is here to help. With over 20 years of serving the metro area, AX Plumbing can do it all, from residential to commercial. They can even help with the new build installation service. Head over to axpservice.com today. There's financing available to qualified buyers and military discount too. Check out axpservice.com today. AX Plumbing. They'll leave your place cleaner than they found it. Did you know that Bellevue University is making a major investment in its athletic programs with a new $25 million athletic center? This state-of-the-art facility will feature multiple practice and competition courts, a modern 6,800 square foot sports performance and fitness center, an advanced golf simulator, and a new lounge area for our student athletes. The athletic center will open in early 2025. Come see the future of Bruin athletics. Schedule a tour, meet with other athletes, and explore Bellevue University for yourself. Visit BUBruins.com.
On a Monday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. Keep up to date on all the championship action happening on Bellevue's campus by downloading the BU Bruins app to your smartphone tonight. The Omaha Supernovas are just 5 games into their season, and they are off to a 3-2 start. Tonight, we're joined by one of the very talented Supernovas, a former Nebraska Cornhusker as well. Caitlin Hort is with us. Caitlin, thank you very much for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me. Very excited.
You have one of the more interesting college careers and one of the most interesting times in college and pro athletics from the volleyball standpoint of anybody. You come to Omaha after taking and back to Nebraska after playing for a year in Columbus. What has been the biggest adjustment from coming to the Supernovas for you personally?
I wouldn't necessarily say there has really been a big adjustment. Like, it's just been so seamless and so smooth, and everything, it literally is like the best puzzle ever. Like, everything's just fitting so nicely. So I'm having the time of my life. Everybody's so nice here, and I love all my teammates. So I guess I'm adjusting extremely well.
You're familiar with switching teams. You transferred to Nebraska from Penn State in your college career. How much different or similar are the two situations, going from one pro team to another versus transferring from college to another university?
I definitely think they're extremely similar. I think that those who have transferred definitely know what they have come in by switching teams. So, like, it wasn't that big of a deal for me because I've already done that. And I would say transferring during college is at a more vulnerable point in my life. So now that I'm a little bit older and, like I said, like, I know what to expect, like, it just makes it all that much more easier.
A little bit of a different change too, playing at the Devaney Center versus playing at the CHI Health Center. How much? I mean, listen, it's different in Nebraska when you play in Lincoln or when you play in State College at Penn State, because those crowds are a lot bigger and than most of the nation's attendance across college volleyball. How much of a difference is it playing in a college venue versus a pro venue?
I would say it's not that different. Like, well, I guess the main difference is this lack of student section. Like,
Sure.
they can get pretty rowdy. I do miss that for sure. But besides that, the crowds are still super engaged, and especially here in Nebraska, all the fans love their volleyball. So it's such a great experience playing in front of them for sure.
The transfer portion isn't even the most unique part about your college stay. Obviously, NIL gets added to the equation. The transfer portal becomes an option during your college career as well. Also, when you get done with college, now pro volleyball is available in the States. How have you been able to navigate the waters of your entire career with the uniqueness, really, that you can't like ask previous student athletes about or former pro volleyball players in the state? How do you navigate those waters?
Yeah, honestly, what I can say is I'm super thankful. I did actually go overseas for like a very short stint, and I'll say it was I was on the struggle bus a lot just because the time difference was really rough, so I couldn't really
Sure.
stay in contact with a lot of people that were here in the States, and then the language barrier was also something that was difficult to deal with, and yeah, it's just a different style of volleyball over there in general. So that adjustment wasn't as seamless as mine now, but like, I'm so thankful for the opportunities that we have now here in the States. Like, you're getting set up for life because of the opportunities that are arising because of volleyball. So I'm just so incredibly thankful to be in my position. And yeah, it's
What was
awesome.
what was the biggest adjustment on the court for you overseas?
I would just say the biggest adjustment for me was during practice, just because I really didn't understand what we were supposed to be doing
Sure, just the
because
language
of
barrier.
because of the language barrier, yes, and our coach, he spoke very quickly, so it was more like I had to see the person in front of me do whatever they did, and then I'd hop in right after them, so it was just, like, lots of visuals instead of actually hearing it, so I would say that was the most difficult thing to get used to.
Can you walk us through the initial reaction that you had when you heard that, the Pro Volleyball Federation or these other leagues were opening up inside the United States, and like what your initial reaction to that news was?
Yeah, I actually remember I was in my apartment in Romania. I was on my phone, and then I got a couple of DMs on Instagram from some different girls from PVF, and they were talking about this league. And then I got a text message from Jen Spiker about this league again, and that it was actually happening. And I just remember like a smile coming across my face, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm definitely doing this. There's no way that I'm not." Um, so yeah, I just remember being so full of joy to have the opportunity to stay at home, stay in the States. So yeah.
Talk to us about the transition in your personal life going from playing in Columbus to coming to an ipso facto home for you to Nebraska. What was your thought process around getting to come play not only back in Nebraska but for the defending champions of the PVF as well?
Yeah, I was super excited to have that opportunity and to work towards doing that again for the second season. Columbus was a really fun time. Like I met a lot of amazing people over there. So I was definitely looking forward to doing the same thing here. And so far, so good. So yeah, it's just, yeah.
We're catching up with Caitlin Horde of the Omaha Supernovas here on the After Hours Lounge. Caitlin, for you, I mean, right now you guys are off to a 3-2 start. Maybe not the ideal situation coming off a championship a year ago, but what has been noticeably good about this team when they're on? What are some of the struggles that you guys have had through 5 games?
Yeah, for sure. We have had a couple of lessons that I think have benefited us, and I'm so glad that those lessons have come very early on. But I think one of the things we're really trying to figure out is how we can just be competitive all the time, because we know we have it in us, but sometimes we just get a little too comfortable, and then we lose momentum, and then we can't seem to really get it back. So I would say that's our biggest thing that we're working on. But I'm glad that we've learned that this early in the season and already are getting so much better at it. So I'm just excited to see how high our ceiling can actually be, because I still don't think we've played our best volleyball, and we have played some pretty dang good volleyball so far. So that's very that's something I'm looking forward to, is just, yeah, seeing exactly how high we can go.
We've gotten the chance to catch up with Coach Bird a couple times, and she's kind of laid some wisdom on us from a volleyball standpoint. She's obviously a very decorated coach and a very decorated player in her own right during her time on the court as well. What's it been like playing underneath her tutelage?
It's been really refreshing. She's just got such a positive outlook on everything, and she explains things so well and so simply, and it's like a light bulb moment goes off, and it's like, wow, how did I not know this? So she's honestly one of my favorite coaches of all time. She's just really
She's not sitting next to you right now, is she?
no,
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 okay.
no. No. I was telling my mom the other day, like I'm so thankful to again be a part of this team and have her leading us. Like it's just like icing on the cake. Like everything, it feels so good that everything is going the way that it's going.
You brought
And
up
yeah.
you brought up your mom, and we talked about how you personally were affected by pro volleyball coming to the United States too. But oftentimes, I don't think we think enough about the athlete's family. What was your family's response, and have they been able to come to a Supernovas game yet to check it out?
My mom actually came to our game away in Columbus, because that's
Okay.
pretty close to my home in Kentucky. But yeah, they are so thankful that I'm not overseas anymore. Again, just because I didn't have the best time. I had a lot of injuries, so I know that they were just concerned for me and just making sure that I was getting the correct amount of treatment and the right treatment. And again,
Sure.
that was difficult with the language barriers going on. So I know that being here in the States, it's a great relief for them.
We often get to see the inner workings of an athletic department at a place like Nebraska or a place like Penn State. We see the weight room, and obviously facilities are usually publicly donated and stuff. We don't get to see a lot of that from the pro aspect. How much different is the weight training regimen for the Supernovas or in the Pro Volleyball Federation than maybe your time in college?
I would say it's actually extremely similar to how we
Wow.
trained at Nebraska. Just our trainer played at Nebraska, and she was also the strength trainer for Nebraska a couple years ago. So they have basically taken that and given it to us, and so yeah, it's extremely similar in that aspect. We focus a lot on keeping our bodies maintained throughout the season because it is a grueling season, but yeah.
You guys were on the road for a brief stint, getting ready to come back home. You're taking on your previous team, the Columbus Fury, this Friday, January 31st, at the CHI Health Center. 7 p.m. tip-off. The game is also available on YouTube. What has been your favorite moment about the game day experience in Omaha?
Honestly, just the fans. Like, it's so nice to be able to play in front of a crowd that is so loving and caring and loves watching us and shows
Sure.
that excitement. Like, I remember doing autographs from our last home game, and even though we didn't get the result that we wanted, like, everybody was just so grateful to be there and just expressing how much fun they had. And so that was really, really nice to hear that even after I don't think our team gave the performance that we all know that we could have given, like, our fans are still standing behind us. So that's such a great feeling to have.
You guys are getting ready to go on a 3-game road streak after that. Do you have a favorite destination? This is year 1.5 of being in this league for you. Do you have a favorite destination that you guys have been able to travel to?
Yeah, that's a great question. Somebody actually asked me that the other day. It's hard because all these
Some
teams
really
are,
great cities. Yeah.
yeah, they're all in really great cities. I would say San Diego is like unmatched just because I'm not used.
Especially in February.
Yeah, for sure. Being in Nebraska in February and then getting to take a little trip to San Diego definitely is yeah, but I would say San Diego is one of my top favorites. The seafood there is really good. Obviously, the sun is shining. And then I would say Florida. So the two warmest places are.
Yeah, you guys are getting ready to head to Orlando next week too.
Yeah, we are. So I'm excited about that trip. I also have a lot of teammates that are from Florida, so I get to see a lot of them when I go down there too. So that's another reason why.
Well,
I
lock things up on Friday before you get ready to take that trip out.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the Omaha Supernovas, Caitlin Howard. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Caitlin. Just a reminder, you can stop down at the CHI Health Center and get tickets 7 p.m. Friday night. The Columbus Fury at Omaha. Supernovas back in town with a 3-2 win record and coming off the win over the Fury at their home gym trying to defend home court. Get down and check out a game with the Omaha Supernovas. Like Caitlin just said, it's the second to none experience in the Pro Volleyball Federation, or really in the state of Nebraska. If you missed the former Husker and current Supernovas segment tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/after-hours1620 or wherever you may find your podcast. That it was brought to you by Cunningham's Pub. New year, same great experience at Cunningham's. 2 great locations in Blackstone or the historic Old Mill location as well. If you want beer and wings on us, head over to X. Follow us on Twitter at after-hours1620. We're going to celebrate Wing Tuesday tomorrow. That's right. We will be giving away a $25 gift card to Cunningham's Pub tomorrow night. All you got to do is follow us, follow Cunningham's, share or retweet the GIF of the wings we have for Cunningham's, and we'll let you into a drawing to win a $25 gift card to either one of Cunningham's 2 great locations. When we come back, rehab. How is it helping coaches around the country, whether it be in the NFL or in college football? We'll debate on 1620 The Zone. Hey everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Bob Williams of Williams Law. Listen, you hear Bob Williams in here every week on this show talking about how to fix things in the NFL, what quarterbacks can do if they've got a DUI charge. You don't have to be the NFL or college football or even a pro level quarterback to work with a lawyer the caliber of Bob Williams. All you have to do is head over to WilliamsLawLLC.com tonight. Bob is going to give you a free, no obligation legal consultation. What does that mean? Maybe you're facing a DUI charge. Maybe your son or daughter has gotten in a little bit of trouble hanging out with that kid that you told them not to time and time again, but now they're facing legal situations. Bob and his team will sit you down, walk you through your rights, explain the situation to you, and get you ready for your big day in court. All you have to do is head over to WilliamsLawLLC.com tonight and work with Bob and his team.
New year, new yo, but better beverages in 2025. Chesterman Coca-Cola and Hy-Vee are giving you the best new deals of the new year. Stop by any Omaha area Hy-Vees and grab body.
.645 on a Monday night edition of the After Hours Lounge, brought to you by Bellevue University. You can keep up to date on all the championship action going on Bellevue's campus by downloading the BU Bruins app to your smartphone tonight. There have been a couple of coaches who have completely revamped our thought process around them, this NFL and this college football season. So we're going to talk a little coaches rehab clinic as Dan Campbell kills everybody's ears in the state of Nebraska. I want to start with your guy, Dan Quinn, because I think he obviously got labeled as a guy that could fumble a Super Bowl lead 28-3. I think most people would put that on Kyle Shanahan. I'm not going to admit that for obvious reasons. But he hires Cliff Kingsbury, who flopped out in Arizona as well. And obviously the Kyler Murray experiment didn't really go well with those two at the helm. But I think both are guys that, a lot thanks to Jaden Daniels, kind of revamped their career this season. I'm with you. I think Dan Quinn's going to get that defense fixed next year. But Cliff Kingsbury was highly considered to be the to be the favorite for the coaching job in Chicago because because of his experience, obviously, with Caleb Williams at USC, and then obviously now showing that he can do it in the NFL with a rookie quarterback too.
I mean, they're both guys who lost head coaching jobs, right?
Yeah.
And
they got a game away from the Super Bowl.
Dan Quinn, like arguably already rehabbed his career with the job he did at Dallas with that defense.
Right.
And then got another opportunity as a head coach and has absolutely smashed it so far.
I don't feel this way, but could you listen to the argument that, okay, well, you had a generational talent in Micah Parsons, and you had a generational talent in Jaden Daniels, and those could be the reasons for the extension of his success.
I don't know that we say Jaden Daniels is a generational talent yet. He's had a very
generational first year.
He had a excellent rookie season. I will give you, like, I don't think we can throw the generational talent tag on him just yet. Like,
okay.
It's far too soon.
Won a Heisman Trophy at college, and then was going to be the rookie of the year in the NFL. But okay, I'll wait. I'll allow you to pump the brakes on this. I think you're wrong. But
Kingsbury, meanwhile, like, flamed out in Arizona and is on the redemption track now.
Yeah,
and coached in the NFC Championship game as an offensive coordinator. And did magical things with a rookie quarterback. Like, that was amazing.
Does it surprise you he hasn't been rumored to New Orleans at all?
The rumors are out there.
But I mean, it feels
he's
like
on the board.
It feels like it's full throttle Mike McCarthy, though.
Feels like it,
which is very weird.
It's so weird.
But, like, if you think about,
let me tell you what Mike McCarthy has that Cliff Kingsbury doesn't. He's got some jewelry. He's got one, Dan. He's got one.
He does have one.
Dan forgets.
Yeah. Back to the coaching rehab. If you think about the 4 teams that were in the conference championships, the Eagles, right? Sirianni, left for dead.
Yeah.
They thought, you thought this was the swan song this season.
I called for his job on this show.
Sure. But look at the rest of the staff. Kellen Moore, who's been run out of both Dallas and the Chargers. He's the offensive coordinator for the Eagles. Vic Fangio, who got ran out of Denver on a rail.
NFC East coaches or players leaving their current stint for Philadelphia has not worked out well for the previous stint there.
So, I mean, all 3, the head coach and both coordinators, are redemption arcs for the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%. How many times could Vic Fangio go somewhere else and just have a really good 1 year, though?
Even look at the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid was let go in Philadelphia because he couldn't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was going to say,
listen,
did anybody look at that and go, Philadelphia's making the right decision here?
I don't think a lot of people disagreed with it at the time. I don't remember it being thought of as a terrible decision.
I didn't know who you were going to get that was going to be a better fit. But I mean, they've won a Super Bowl since then. So
I felt like most of the chatter around it was like, yep, it was time for both parties to go their separate ways. I don't remember anyone absolutely clamoring for Philadelphia to keep Andy Reid.
There's no way. Like, this is a lot of the talk about Kyle Shanahan right now, and to some degree Sean McVay in Los Angeles. Like, who are you going to get better than those guys at that option? That's how I felt about the time when they were letting Andy Reid go. I agree, and I think the Terrell Owens saga weighed on the franchise and the head coach a lot, and that probably had a lot to do with it. Brody will tell you about that sometime. You weren't there for that. Google sit-ups and driveways. But I really think that if that doesn't happen, if they don't get Terrell Owens, maybe they don't go to that Super Bowl, maybe it's a different story. But like, it just felt like everybody at that point was like, listen, let's just let everybody go.
Well, you say you don't know who they could get better. They won a Super Bowl with Doug Peterson as their head coach.
Right. But is anybody in the world letting Andy Reid go today for Doug Peterson?
Not today, but then it was the right thing to do because Andy Reid is like all the way on the backside of his redemption arc now.
No, but he was a top 5 coach when they let him go. It was just a matter of, to your point, it was better for everybody at the time just to wash their hands. I don't know if Andy Reid has the success in Kansas City does now without that experience in Philadelphia, and maybe Philadelphia is not in the spot they're in with Nick Sirianni right now, even if they still have Andy Reid. So maybe it was better. But I'm talking from the 10,000-foot view. Sure. If you're going to give me the top 5 coaches in the NFL, I don't know how many times over the last 20 years Andy Reid's not in that top 5 list. So that's why I say, who are you going to get that's better? Because I don't know how many times you could put guys ahead of Andy Reid. He's been one.
All
of,
I'm saying
he
is
has been one of the best play callers in the NFL since 2001.
he's a coach who got fired.
True.
And has now gone to another team and had incredible success. And look at his coordinators. Matt Nagy, who got blasted so far out of Chicago they couldn't wait to
I
get
don't think
rid of
he's
him.
allowed back in the state.
Steve Spagnuolo, who was fired as a head
Yeah.
coach. Like all of these coaches, pretty much the only staff that doesn't have a redemption arc is Buffalo.
Right. Because they've all been together for
Right.
outside of the offensive coordinator position, because he's trying to figure things out in
Yeah.
in New York.
So it just goes to show you, like, there's a way back. And I know we talk about, oh, we got another retread coach. He's got
Sure.
another coach who's got. It's not always sometimes, yes, it is. Like sometimes it's the case that, yeah, you probably shouldn't hire that guy. He's got a track record of not getting it done.
Yeah.
Hello, Mike McCarthy. But sometimes
I
it's
don't
just
know.
a matter of situation and personnel and front office.
An office, yeah. I think that's more to do with it than anything. Like, it's why, like, the conversation about, like, Eric Bieniemy is so interesting, right? Like, he needed to get out of Kansas City because it was always going to be thought about as Andy Reid's offense and how can he pull the strings away from that offense. And it's not going so great with it for Eric Bieniemy right now, but you were never going to get that big time coaching job without proving you could do it away from Bieniemy away from Andy Reid and away from Patrick Mahomes. Now, the problem with that is you also have to end up in a really good spot with a really good quarterback and a really good front office, and that's rolling the dice as well. So it's one of those things that, like, I kind of look at Joe Brady too, who is kind of found himself in a bad situation in Carolina, but then found himself in a good situation. And when is it the trigger finally going to be pulled on him as a head coach eventually? Because obviously, if you give him the quarterback to do it with, he's really good in those spots.
I mean, you gave Andy Reid arguably is not having the Andy Reid career without Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
like Bill Belichick without Tom Brady was not very good.
But I mean, I wonder how much Joe Brady helps his cause, because he did it with Joe Burrow and now he's doing it with Josh Allen, and then you get Eric Bieniemy, who kind of fell into a dumpster fire of quarterbacks in Washington and now is kind of trying to figure it out at the collegiate level. But you've got to find a way to, because it's not about, like, I know he's had all the all the discussion about, can't interview well and all that, but, like, okay, it doesn't matter if he can interview well if he can pull the strings on an offense and get you some wins, right?
Sure, it should. That's what it should be. But I mean, that interview process is important too, because you've got to make people believe that you can pull the strings.
But I think there are certain coaches that have been good enough, or where they're, like, quote, can't miss guys, that, like, listen, if Eric Bieniemy would have went to Washington, it could have got Taylor Heineke to have Patrick Mahomes-esque numbers. It wouldn't have been a question that he was getting a head coaching job. I don't care how bad in the interview process he was.
Sam Howell had a pretty good year. I mean, he threw a lot of picks, but he threw for a lot of yards too.
Yeah, exactly. But if that would have led to Washington wins and that offense could have been showcased in the way that it has been, like this year with Jaden Daniels, Eric Bieniemy would have been the head coach of the Saints this season. I don't doubt that. Speaking of quarterbacks,
I don't know.
Do you want your college quarterback to be in an NFL locker room? We're going to discuss it on the side of the break. If you missed this segment, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhour1620. It was brought to you by our friends at Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. Listen, it's starting to get warmer outside today. 55. Did you have to turn on your AC? Did it make a clunking sound when you turn it on? Did it not work? You need to get a hold of our friends at Controlled Comfort. Head over to controlledcomfort.com so they can set up a maintenance appointment to take a look at your AC unit as well as your heater. They'll take care of it all to make sure that the heater's good this winter and that your AC unit is ready to go for the summer as well. Controlledcomfort.com. Head over there tonight. We'll be right back. Give you the social media soundbite. 1620 The Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Pepper Jack's Grill. Currently 10 locations throughout the Omaha area, 2 new ones coming sooner rather than later. They've got so many options and so many locations. There's no better option for a lunch or dinner option than Pepper Jack's Grill. Grilled mushrooms, green peppers, grilled onions on top of my steak rice bowl is my favorite option. A little bit of black olives and some spicy ranch on top of it to top it off. It is so good. It's good enough for 2 meals. They give you everything you can handle at Pepper Jack. Stop by tonight and grab dinner. 6:58 on a Monday edition of the After Hours Lounge, brought to you by Bellevue University. Download the BU Bruins app to keep up to date on all the championship action happening on Bellevue's campus. Jimmy Allen, John Schreiner, Dan Campion, and Brody Heidemann with you tonight. Got the social media soundbite queued up. Brody, what do you got for us? All right, that's Kansas City Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco hanging out with, and check my notes here. Nebraska quarterback Dylan Raiola immediately following the AFC Championship game in the Kansas City Chiefs locker room.
Yep.
Could you imagine this happening 5 years ago, 6 years ago? This is insane. Like, listen, I understand that him and Mahomes have the
Is
connection.
it all that insane, though? Like, honestly, is it?
I mean, I get that his father was a former NFL player. His dad didn't play for the Chiefs.
Nope. But
they have no connection to Kansas City at all.
Yeah, they do. Because he trains with the same quarterback coach that Patrick Mahomes does.
Ding, ding, ding.
Who trains 33 other quarterbacks, by the way. You want to take a guess how many of the other 32 quarterbacks were in that locker room?
0.
Let me check my math here. Yeah, 0. So, I mean, listen.
But Mahomes has already addressed him as Lil Cuzzo.
Which is why I
have
don't know
a
if you heard
relationship.
Pacheco at the beginning referred to him as Cuz, by the way. Is this a bad look for Dylan? Like, it kind of feels like you've become the de facto mascot for the Chiefs. Like, you're Patrick's little cuzzo. Every time you wear anything that remotely looks like something Patrick Mahomes has worn in his past, you become a meme on the internet. Like, listen, I think it's great to have people hate your quarterback. If people hate your quarterback, you're probably doing things correctly.
Pause. Right now. Pause. Because where was this energy then, Jimmy? Literally 3 weeks ago when he was at the first Kansas City Chiefs playoff game.
There's a big difference between being in attendance at a game and being brought on camera on one of the players' social medias in the locker room. That is a big difference. Anybody in the world can buy a ticket to the game. You're getting a little special treatment here. Like this, if something doesn't go right, this becomes cannon fodder for everybody on the internet. And yeah, you get to 6 wins. You won a bowl game. That's great. It's not like things are completely sunshine and rainbow in Lincoln right now either.
And the thing is, he wasn't just there for Mahomes. Dawson Merritt, his dad, coach for the Chiefs. Terry Braden, Brad Never say a coach for the Chiefs. So he's got connection.
He's got some connections there. But again, you want to take a guess how many other Nebraska Cornhuskers were in the Kansas City Chiefs locker room? Dawson Merritt. That was it. Like, and his dad's on the staff. So it's understandable. But I just feel like this is opening up a can of worms that is going to be all over social media the minute Nebraska, and maybe Matt Rule doesn't care. Maybe I almost said Patrick Mahomes. Maybe Dylan Raiola doesn't care. Maybe Patrick Mahomes doesn't care either.
I'm sure he doesn't.
I don't think it's because I mean they're literally treating him like an 8-year-old in the locker room, and this is a guy that you're expecting to be the cornerstone of the franchise of your program for the next 2 to 3 years. I don't think it's a great look.
Honestly, I wish.
You think this is a nothing burger?
I wish I didn't have to care about these things. Like, honestly,
it's not.
I wish I didn't
deal.
even know.
No.
I wish I had never seen it. I wish that no one had mentioned it. These are the times when I wish that social media didn't exist. Like, it's these kind of things where it's just we have to break down every single thing that happens in everyone's life. It's so tiring and it's so boring. And I hate these conversations so much. It's nothing. He's a kid who got invited to hang out with obviously someone he idolizes.
But he's not, though. He's a little like
Jimmy.
If he was
he's 20 years old.
If he was a senior at Buford,
he's 20.
I would agree with you.
He might not even be 20 yet.
I don't think he's 19.
It's 2008. You're the top quarterback at Pitt. The Pittsburgh Steelers are in the conference championship game. They say, hey, Jimmy, come to the game. You can be in the locker room after the game. You can meet Ben Roethlisberger. You're going to say no to that? You're going to say no to meet arguably one of the best quarterbacks of your era at that point
hold on, because I think you might be onto something. What if this was like I wonder if they're doing like a photo shoot for promotional material for the Cincinnati game, which is famously at Arrowhead Stadium.
That's a good point.
I wonder if that's got something to do
I don't
with
know, but I
Yeah.
honestly don't care. Like, he got invited to go hang out with NFL players
But
at the championship
But to Dan's
game.
point, and I don't think this is the point he was trying to make, but it kind of happened. That didn't happen. Pittsburgh didn't invite the quarterback from the Pitt Panthers.
That you
who,
know
by the
of.
way, who, by the way, play in the same stadium. So it would have made even more sense than this.
I'm
that
waiting,
you know of.
I'm waiting for the more
There
important
was no Twitter.
promo, Jimmy. Patrick Mahomes, quarterback, Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelce, tight end, Kansas City Chiefs. Dylan Raiola, quarterback, Nebraska Cornhuskers. Isaiah, meat market manager. Add him in, Hy-Vee.
Yo, Hy-Vee.
$1 million idea.
The Doritos commercial, by the way, in the AFC Championship game. I laughed for 15 minutes.
I didn't see it.
It was Patrick Mahomes and 6 other the Chiefs players, and they were doing like
That was a good.
a group study on commercials. And they're like, "What did you think of these commercials?" And I think it was Noah Gray. I can't remember who it was. It was like, "I like the one that had the chips in them." They're like, "Well, they all had chips in them." And I forgot. Was it Chris Jones?
Chris Jones.
Yeah.
Chris Jones was like, "I like these commercials because none of them had Patrick in it." And it just like zooms in on Patrick Mahomes.
That and the Shane Gillis one.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Like, because Patrick Mahomes is in every commercial ever made
commercial.
now. I don't know. I don't like it. I think he should try to distance himself from the situation a little bit more.
Yeah, Dylan, stick to sports.
Yeah, you idiot. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, that was our
What are you talking about?
that was our social media soundbite tonight, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. Do you need help with your search engine optimization? Are you not showing up at the top of your Google list in your category for the business you operate in? You need some help. Head over to pixelfiremarketing.com tonight. Work with Dan DeSivey and the crew to put yourself at the top of every Google list on planet Earth or your category that you're involved in, whether you're a roofer, whether you're maybe you're a chiropractor, you're not showing up in your neighborhood. Pixel Fire Marketing can help out with all that. Check out pixelfiremarketing.com tonight. We'll be right back. Buying or selling on several different topics that have nothing to do with Patrick Mahomes on 1620 The Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for AX Plumbing. Home or residential, they can do it all. They've helped me out several times. Replaced a wax ring underneath my toilet, helped with a leak that was up in our upstairs bathroom that was affecting our downstairs living room. They replaced the water heater in my neighbor's house right across the street. There's not too much in the plumbing realm that AX Plumbing can't do. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure there isn't anything on the list that they can't help you out with today. They also replaced a urinal in my business. They can do a ton for you. Check out axpservice.com to fix your long-term plumbing needs. Maybe you don't even have the financing available. There's financing available at axpservice.com. Work with Nick and his crew to get your plumbing issues resolved tonight. 7:10 on a Monday night on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. Over a decade of being the #1 roofer in Omaha doesn't happen by accident. Head over to pyramidroof.com. Get yourself a free estimate of your windows, your gutters, your siding, your roof. They can do it all. Check out pyramidroof.com today. It's time for Buy or Sell. With the pride of all of Gretna, Brody Heidemann grabs the mic and asks us some questions.
New Jets head coach Aaron Glenn addressed Aaron Rodgers on Monday by not addressing Aaron Rodgers, saying, quote, "This thing is not about Aaron Rodgers, folks. This is about the roster. We plan on building the best roster that we can. So whatever that may be, guard, tackle, defensive tackle, that's what we're evaluating. Buy or sell, the Jets will move on from Rodgers before he moves on from them."
Sell. And here's why. This is how you motivate Aaron Rodgers. Tell him he can't do something or he can't achieve it or it's not about him. And guess what he does? He starts to care. I think our guy Aaron Glenn is actually a genius. And if you want Aaron Rodgers to be your quarterback, you don't think you can get better, this is the best way to go about it.
Bye. I don't think Aaron Glenn wants Aaron Rodgers, and I think he's told you exactly that, and I take him at his word. I think he wants to move on with a fresh start, and he wants a quarterback who will get on board with the program, not try to start his own.
And I'm going to agree with John in the fact that Aaron Rodgers will never tell you that he's done. The Jets will have to tell him that his services are no longer wanted and kick his
rear end
non-vaccinated butt out the door.
I buy. I think that he's going to play a few games with them this season, and then either the Jets are going to say, "Hey, we're going to get somebody else." Or,
best of luck at all your future
endeavors. Or, he'll somehow end the season out as a Jet, and they'll go 4-13.
Tank's empty, brah.
Since beating UCLA, Nebraska ball has dropped 6 consecutive games, including a 28-point loss to Wisconsin in Madison last night. Jimmy, you have talked people off the ledge about Mac on your side with the Jays. You've defended Fred Hoiberg a ton. Buy or sell, Fred can turn this around.
I have famously defended Fred Hoiberg when he didn't make an NCAA tournament. I famously defended Fred Hoiberg when he lost an NCAA tournament game last year. I think it's over. That team looked like here's part of the problem. I think Sam Hoiberg is a great energy guy, and I think he brings you a lot. But I think he's that guy when you don't need crunch situations to have a defensive stop. If the game is on the line, you're asking Sam Hoiberg to go out there and be your perimeter or your premier ball stopper in important sets to win you games. That is a bad place to be. And that's no shade to Sam Hoiberg. That's just not his strong suit for his game. But his father and his head coach keeps putting him in that situation. And it doesn't look like he plans on changing that anytime soon. And if that's the case, this defense is in a lot of trouble. And for a head coach that prides himself on his defensive prowess, that's a really bad look. And I think it's starting to look like that locker room is starting to notice what I'm talking about too.
He can turn it around. He's turned bad situations around for Nebraska before. A couple of years ago, they went on a huge slide and then reeled off a bunch of wins at the end of the season and very nearly made the tournament.
Is that good enough?
Is it good enough to reel off a bunch of wins and very nearly make the tournament? Listen, I don't know that the University of Nebraska at the current state of things is going to be interested in buyouts.
Fair enough.
So there's a practical part of me here that says, I don't think it matters.
What you're talking about, what happened was in year 3.
Yeah.
That's good enough in year 3. This is year 6.
Yeah.
That's not good enough in year 6 for me. I don't care what the buyout is.
I'm not saying that
Fred Hoiberg guy.
I'm not saying it's good enough. I'm just talking about like real world practical situations.
Well, I guess in the spirit of the question, it matters like what you consider turning it around to. Like,
sure.
And if it's the discussion of saving his job, I don't think that's enough to save. I think he's got to make the tournament. I do.
If they lose out, he's gone. If they go 500 the rest of the way and win a game at the Big Ten tournament, like, I don't think Nebraska's buying him out of that contract. I just don't.
Yeah, he's gone.
Mm.
You've seen it so many times now.
I hate to say it, but I agree, Dan.
Just get used to the new normal that you should have seen the writing on the wall right the minute that you hired Fred Hoiberg. he's not equipped. He is not equipped to be a head coach at the NBA level or the college level. Just 100% get used to it. You can't resolve any of the infighting that you had within that Bulls organization, and you can barely hold on to a locker room at the collegiate level.
And the guy made a tournament last year.
Maybe it's time to ride into the sun.
I think these next 2 games are going to be very telling. Illinois,
That's a good point.
Oregon, if they drop to 10 losses on the season and probably the bottom of the Big Ten with the way Washington's schedule looks, I think that they're going to have some decisions to make.
I don't think they'll make one in season.
No.
They'll let him finish it out. But yeah, I'm with you, Brody. What else we got?
Nebraska ball on a skid. The other Nebraska school, everyone for Omaha. They're riding a 9-game
Cowbell.
win streak and are sitting atop the Summit League at 7-0 after beating St. Thomas and don't call me Oral Roberts. Buy or sell the Mavericks will go dancing this year.
Listen, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
A lot of basketball left.
It is a 1-bid league.
A lot of basketball left.
I'm saying there's a 35% chance they make the tournament.
Well, that's low. I would put it as high as like 60% at this point because they look like the absolute cream of the crop in the Summit
They
League.
do, but they've never been there before in this league, right? So it's hard for me to
There's
say.
a first time for everything.
I agree, but it's hard for me to say without any prior knowledge. And I told you when he got hired, I love the Chris Crutchfield hire. Yep. I think he's going to do great things at Omaha, hopefully for a really long time. But until they prove to me they can do it, I don't feel comfortable January 27th saying, yeah, I think they're in. I don't feel comfortable yet. I think they're on the right trajectory to get there, and I hope they do. I don't know if I'm willing to say, especially over the teams in this league that have been there, have done it before, and St. Thomas is still pretty good despite the outcome at Baxter Arena. I'm saying that, yeah, they're 100% in.
It's an extremely measured and reasonable take from you, Jim. Not something we get off
versed, yeah. Dan? Sorry.
Buy. They're going dancing.
Well, you said 60%, so I assumed you were already buying. Dan?
Buy. Omaha's easily making the tournament this year.
Easily.
Easily.
Okay.
I would say 90% chance that they make the tournament. I would almost put a guarantee on them winning this conference tournament this year.
Wow.
All I'm going to say is they have a better shot at making the tournament than Nebraska.
Yes.
Easily.
In a 1-bid league.
Easily. In a 1-bid league.
And nobody disagrees.
Brody, that is true every single year.
Believe me,
I
know.
Mojo,
But
why fight it?
That was Buy or Sell Tonight. If you missed it, check it out at SoundCloud.com/AfterHours1620, where we will never call you Laurel. It was brought to you by Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. It's cold outside. It doesn't need to be
Laurel.
cold inside. Make sure you get a HVAC maintenance appointment set up with our friends at Controlled Comfort. They'll come out, take a look at your heater, take a look at your AC unit, make sure both are ready for their prime season. Head over to Controlled Comfort and schedule that maintenance appointment tonight. We'll be right back discussing coaching salaries in Lincoln. Do they make more than Brody Heidemann? We'll find out. You're on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here for Bob at Williams Law. Jimmy, notorious slacker, will be out tomorrow, so you can hear Bob on these airwaves. He's going to join me to talk about some pressing legal matters in the world of sports. Why do we bring Bob in to talk about those things? Because he's got a good legal mind and he understands the inner workings of all legal process. And that's why you should give him a call at 402-522-6317 if you've got a legal process that you are trying to get through right now. You got questions, you don't know where to go, you don't know which way to turn. Maybe you're not even sure what the situation you're facing amounts to, be it civil or criminal. Well, you need to get a hold of Bob at williamslawllc.com. He's going to sit you down and give you a free, no obligation legal consultation where he'll walk you through the charges that you're facing or the civil situation, whatever it may be, explain to you your rights and the best ways to proceed. And that's at no cost to you. You go in losing nothing and gaining the knowledge that you're seeking. Give them a call at 402-522-6317. Check out williamslawllc.com.
7:23 on a Monday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. Head over to pyramidroof.com. Book yourself a free estimate for your windows, your gutters, your siding, your roof. They can do it all. Check out pyramidroof.com for a free estimate tonight. Salaries have been released for the Nebraska coaching staff newcomers. John Butler's contract was adjusted to $1 million on December 10th. Why? He took over the defensive coordinator roles. That makes sense.
I'll get you a raise.
He will make $1.1 million for 2026's football season. Tony White was making 1.6, so a little bit of a discount for Nebraska, keeping somebody in-house and not necessarily having to pay out-of-house. Pricing, fair, unfair?
Well, I mean, this is what companies do, right?
Well, and I also think
we're going to give you a promotion, but we can only give you a 10% raise. Oh, it's our max raise. That's all we can do.
But I think there's
You
proof.
guys get raises?
I think there's proof in the
You guys get paid?
I think there's proof in the pudding, though, that if he does a good enough job, and it's on Tony White's level, because they gave Tony White a raise too.
Sure did.
And I think that's the concept here, right? Okay, we're going to give you a little bit of a bump, and if you can deliver on the same level as your predecessor or better, the payday will come with it.
We'll fire Satterfield and give you the extra money.
Which is interesting, because Marcus Satterfield's contract is still listed at $1.4 million, and he is still on the staff, which would make him the highest paid tight ends coach in the country. By a lot, by the way. Almost by $1 million. Two-part question. Are you surprised he's still on staff up until this point? And I guess this isn't a question, but there's absolutely no way his contract is still this dollar amount by the time the season starts, right?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, they could either pay him the money to coach or pay him the money to not coach.
Sure.
What do you want to do?
Yeah, but I think you have the conversation like, hey, do you really want to be here? Because if you really want to be here, we're going to need to take this decimal here and move it to the left a little bit.
And he says, pay me or pay me or to coach or pay me to not coach, your choice. It's a contract, and they either honor it or they buy it out.
Right. But they brought him in as a coach to coach and coordinate the offense.
And it depends on the language in
It's
the
true.
contract, though.
And it kind of feels like the language in the contract is Team Satterfield right now, by the way.
It's probably at least vague enough that he has the leverage in this situation, which most coaching contracts in the modern day, the coach holds the leverage in that situation. So I'm imagining that they have, I don't know anything. I have no inside information. This is
what do you know, John Schreiner?
This is complete conjecture by me. I would imagine that they had that conversation and he laughed them out of the room and said, okay.
Yeah, I'll leave for a lot of money. Well, here's the problem with that. Dana Holgorsen, now he's getting a boatload of cash from Houston University, or University of Houston, if you want to be correct. He's getting $1.2 million for the 2026 season. That means his tight ends coach is making $0.2 million more than he is. So $200,000 more than his coordinator.
But not really.
Yeah, it's actually close to like less than $1 million less. But on paper, and for measuring stick purposes, the University of Nebraska is paying their tight ends coach more than their offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And that doesn't matter now, but if things start going sideways, it could. And that's not a very friendly conversation to be having. I don't think it will, and I think Dana Holgorsen is going to be able to fix a lot of problems.
I don't know that we need to read too much into it. Like, it's a weird situation where a guy got demoted and they kept him on staff and his contract says he gets paid this amount. It's just a funky situation that doesn't really mean what it looks like to me.
Is any of that Matt Rule's fault, in your opinion? He hired Marcus Satterfield. He had to bring in Dana Holgorsen midseason. He couldn't be the kind of catalyst to help fix it.
The only way in which it's his fault is that he hasn't fired Marcus Satterfield outright and paid him his buyout. Which
could be something to do with Troy Dannon. Could be the athletic department going, whoa. That's a lot of dollars. We're funneling a lot of money into your program already.
Yeah.
Phil Sips, the new edge rushers coach, will make $350,000 a year. So that's pretty big shoes to fill at Terrence Knighton, though. And I'm a little surprised this number's not a little bit higher.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the number for a D-line coach is. I have no frame of reference. So
Addison Williams, the new defensive backs coach, will make $625,000, so near almost double that amount for this upcoming season. John Butler was
We wish.
slated to make $700,000 that role, so they're even getting a little bit of a discount there as well. And then DeKale Shorts, the new wide receivers coach, will make $400,000, a little bit of a bump up in pay because Garrett McGuire, who was 19 years old, was making $350,000 in that
was
spot.
an allowance.
Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator previously at The Ohio State University, is going to Penn State.
Yeah.
And will be making more than both Dana Holgorsen and John Butler combined at Penn State.
Making the playoffs helps.
It does, but is that a bad look for Nebraska and the other have-nots of the Big Ten? And by have-nots, I mean teams that haven't won recently. Not like doesn't have the money, because they clearly do.
Bad look how?
That Penn State is willing to pony up that kind of cash for top-end coordinators, and your most recent coordinator hire on the offensive side of the ball is now the tight ends coach, and you had to basically demote them. It's not a great look.
I mean, it's like when you have to fire your offensive coordinator, it's not a good thing. I mean, nobody's like, well, we hired a bad offensive coordinator. Good for us. It's not a reason to celebrate. So yeah, I mean, it sucks. It's not great, but Jim Knowles,
who's 59, by the way,
he could have very well just stayed at Ohio State, but Penn State threw a bag at him, like
$3.1 million per season.
That's a boatload of cash, man.
We think that resets the market, because that's kind of where I'm wondering. Like, obviously, Jim Knowles is top 3 coordinators in the country, so it's going to generate, and to get him to leave Ohio State,
we'll find out.
Yeah, because I mean, kind of feels like every time this happens, market just goes up, right?
Yeah, it's not going backwards anytime soon. But as far as it being a bad look for Nebraska, like, you got Dana Holgorsen. That is a coveted offensive coordinator.
Pretty good.
Now, you have John Butler, who is trying to reprove himself.
Defensive coordinator for exactly 1 season.
He's trying to reprove himself as a DC, but you've got a defensive-minded head coach. So, like, and let's be honest. Like, we have to be honest with ourselves here. Nebraska's not on the same level as Penn State. So, like, is it a bad look for Nebraska to not be Penn State? Well, that depends on your perspective. Like, Nebraska's not Penn State right now. They're not in the same stratosphere. Nebraska's not at that level. So, for Nebraska to be paying their coordinators what they're paying them and to be who they are, that's the level Nebraska's playing at. They're not a peer of Penn State right now.
The one caveat that I think helps make up for that, if you're looking at this as a slight, Addison Williams, former defensive coordinator. Matt Rule, former defensive coordinator. John Butler, former defensive coordinator. You've got 3 guys that are former defensive coordinators on your staff, including your head coach.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of makes up for it. Like, you've got, maybe you don't have the top guy, but you've got 3 guys that I think a lot of other people would probably feel really good about them being in their rooms too.
Sure. I mean, but just to reiterate the point, Penn State's in the mix for a national championship.
Sure.
Nebraska's not in the mix for a Big Ten championship.
But you're trying to get to that point.
You're trying to.
And the team that you have to surpass just told you that the margin and the bar has been set at $3.5 million for a defensive coordinator.
And Nebraska can start paying that money when?
They probably fire Marcus Satterfield and get done paying him off.
When they prove
when
they're at that level.
Generating some money. I agree. Those are the salaries in Nebraska. If you missed it, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. Are you watching on the stream right now? Speaking of Nebraska, you see the sweet quarter zip I got? You know where I got it? Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sports Store. If you want to look this good, probably make it look better. It's out by 78th and Dodge. They've got the best options in Blue Jay Blue and Husker Red with the Billy Blue Jay in Nebraska and embroidered on all the good stuff from Johnny O, Peter Millar, Cutter, and Buck. Stop by Jerry Ryan 78th and Dodge. Get your closet ready for game day. We'll be right back on the other side of the break. What do we get right? What do we get wrong? What do we not see coming in the NFL this year here on 1620 The Zone?
Hello, everybody. Hi, Dan. It's Dan Campen, and once again, letting you know about my favorite way to get dinner, lunch, and sometimes, if I have enough left over from the night before, breakfast as well. It's Pepper Jack's Grill. They've got 10 great local locations where I know that if I were to walk up to their counter right now and say, hey, I'd like my steak gunner Philly with all the vegetables, including some of that jalapeno juice to make it extra spicy, they would say, sir, you're in here too much and we already know what your order is. You need to just go to the counter and pay right now and we'll have that ready in 5 minutes for you. But that is the kind of service and quality that I know that I can get at any one of Pepper Jack's 10 great local locations.
$7:37 on a Monday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by our friends at Pyramid Contractors. Over a decade of being the number one roofer in Omaha doesn't happen by accident. Head over to pyramidroof.com and book a free estimate for your roof, your windows, your gutters, your siding. They can do it all. Check out pyramidroof.com tonight. Putting a bow on the everything but the big championship game in the National Football League. What do we get right? What do we get wrong? What do we not see coming this season in the NFL? Listen, I've been telling everybody forever. I told you Jaden Daniels was coming. I'm not going to take the low-hanging fruit on this. I was right about the same thing everybody else was right about. Oh. Daniel Jones is not a franchise quarterback in the NFL. And listen, I'm really happy that the Giants are giving Brian Daboll another chance, because they did what almost no franchise ever does and says, hey, our bad. We were wrong about this. You were right. Our fault. Good. We'll give you a chance with somebody else. I'm really glad that's happening, because I think Brian Daboll is a good football coach. I think Daniel Jones is a really bad quarterback. I hope nobody else hopefully he gets another shot, and I'm proving wrong. But if it's my franchise, I'm not taking a flyer on Danny Dimes. You're right.
I'm taking a victory lap on my Jets. My Jets take from the start of the season. Everybody said the Jets were a dark horse Super Bowl contender. They were going to surpass the Bills and take over the East. I was not buying it then, and I was right to not buy it. The Jets were a trash fire. They're a trash organization, and Aaron Rodgers is way past his prime. I was absolutely right about the
And I
Jets.
thank them for that because I love having Robert Saleh back in San Francisco, by the way. Dan, what'd you get right?
Oh, yeah. We haven't addressed that on this show yet. Screw you for that one.
Yeah,
Kyle
thanks.
Shanahan, always one step ahead. What
Playing 3D chess, baby.
jerk. What a jerk. Stealing all of our plays, coming in and saying, I just want to see how offense works, guys.
Yeah, great.
And really sitting there scheming and going, all right, I know exactly what they're going to do next year, guys.
Yeah, nobody cares. 'cause
Include me in
Packers
all
suck.
the offensive meetings, Matt. We're friends, Matt. We went to college together, Matt.
Dan, what'd you get right?
Well, John half took mine, so I'm going to give myself about a half pat on the back because what I got right is Justin Fields is a good quarterback and he is wildly serviceable as a quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He proved it. When Russell Wilson went down, the keys got handed over to him and he said, I can drive this car just about as good as Russell can. And he might have just lucked himself into a deal
Who finished the season as the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback?
Wilson.
Oh, okay.
because he's the experienced starter with Super Bowl experience.
I told you all he was going to.
Art Rooney has come out and said that he wants them to do a deal for Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. That's surprising.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little weird to me. Brody Heidemann, what did you get right about the NFL season?
Before the season, I said that there's going to be some struggles in Chicago, and
It's true. You were all out.
I did not like Caleb Williams, and I think 5-12 is pretty right to say the least. And now Matt Eberflus taking his talents to Dallas.
What talent?
Yeah,
True.
So that's a take, I guess. What did I get wrong? Obviously, I got the 49ers wrong. I think everybody got the 49ers wrong. Everybody thought they were going to be a Super Bowl contender yet again. They were not. So I'll go ahead and leave that out there. But I was wrong about Bo Nix. I thought maybe his stay in college football had proven that he wasn't ready for the big time and that he wasn't going to be a serviceable NFL quarterback.
Like me some Bo Nix.
1 year in, it looks like it was a pretty good pick by Denver. What'd you get wrong?
It's the obvious one. I was beating the drum from the time we started talking NFL.
Yep.
That the Bills were going to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with the Saints.
No, that was week 2 after they had 2 blowout
Destroyed.
wins. That I said they were going to win that division. I've already owned that one.
You said they're
long
going to
ago.
the Super Bowl.
No, I did not. No, definitely did
you
not
said
say
they were
that.
going to the Super Bowl. You
I said they would win their
You
division.
said they were the best team in the NFC.
Dad.
We'll check the tapes. We'll have that ready.
Yeah, no, I said they would win the South.
Dan, I need you to look that up and have that ready to play tomorrow.
Sure.
I was saying from the jump that I thought the Bills would win the Super Bowl
Yes, you
this
did.
year. And they came up a game short. So I was wrong about that.
Well, technically, too, because they didn't win the Super Bowl either. But
If they would have gotten there, they won.
Dan, what'd you get wrong?
And I can say that. Because
Technically,
nobody
I can
can
just
prove me
stay
wrong.
in the AFC North for all mine tonight. But
Sure.
what I got wrong was Cincinnati. I expected Joe Cool, full back and healthy, ready to go with his
He was.
glasses on and his swagger up. But then it turns out that a football team needs an offense and a defense
Well, you need a defense
to win
healthy.
championships.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have it written down on a piece of paper somewhere with just defense question mark.
Yeah.
I just could not believe the utter, I don't know, to steal a word out of Brian Billick's mouth, just the slapdick nature
4, 5.
of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Can we
this
say
year.
that?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, Richard.
Yeah.
Uh,
It was just,
slap
it was
Richard.
absolutely ridiculous.
Imagine-
Their offense put up historic numbers all year, and then their defense just decided to give up midway through every single game and say, we can't do it, so why even
Oh,
bother?
They're really hurt too. I'm going to piggyback off that real quick, just for what I didn't see coming. I didn't see the offensive output from the Bengals this year and missing the playoffs.
Yeah.
I wouldn't seen the offensive output from the Bengals from anybody this year that
No.
the Bengals had and missing the playoffs. Brody, what'd you get wrong?
I have always been a Sam Darnold hater, disbeliever. I never thought he was going to be good coming out of the draft in 2017 or was it 2018? I think it's 2018. I thought he was going to be so bad. And when the Vikings got him, I said, hey, NFC North, for as good as it is, I think they're going to be last place next to the Bears. But, man, I was quite the opposite.
What did you not see coming?
I did not see myself caring about Washington after October 1st.
That's very true.
I did not see that coming. To me to be engaged and interested with that football team after
It took me like
October 1st.
It took me like 2 weeks or 2 months, excuse me, of trying to convince you that this team was going to be good.
Well, I'm so jaded and wounded by the history of this team that like I'm so reluctant to get my hopes up for anything involving Washington football that it took a long time to come around to them actually being a reasonably good football team.
What'd you not see coming?
Brody, this one will put a smile on your face because you've been
Ooh.
so complimentary to my team all these weeks. I actually legitimately did not see the Los Angeles Rams coming with Puka going down, with Cooper Cup going down, both
Man.
at separate times. It seemed like their season was going to be a wash and that Matt Stafford was going to ride out into the California desert on horseback and say, sayonara, everybody. My time is over. Me and Kelly are going to go raise our 3 identical children.
Yeah, they do look a lot alike.
Literally.
And we're going to be A-okay. But they kept grinding and pulling it back. And you got to take your hat off to Sean McVay for giving this team the idea to never quit, just to keep on fighting all year long. And to Matt Stafford for legitimately staying healthy for as long as he has.
Brody, what'd you not see coming?
Staying in LA, but with the Chargers, man, Harbaugh. I did not expect him to go straight from winning a national championship to a playoff team that was, I mean,
Why? Because he's so good of a football
look at the
coach?
Chargers these past few years. They've been nothing. They're playing in one of the top divisions in
Look at Michigan
NFL.
before he came back.
Still.
John Schreiner, I told you in this segment that I had an apology to issue to you at the
what is
beginning of the
that?
show. And this is my second what I got wrong this season. Because I told you that despite how good I thought Jane Daniels was going to be, that he had nobody to throw to. And I
was yelling at you about Terry
and I
McLaurin.
disrespected scary Terry McLaurin at the beginning of the season. He's really, 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 really good.
He's
and,
very good. He's a very good wide receiver.
I said, I think he's a really good number 2.
Yeah.
Nah,
he's
just a really good number 1. So yeah. I wanted to make sure I issued an apology that I owed since the beginning of the season. If you missed
accepted.
If you missed our what we got right, what we got wrong, what we didn't see coming, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by our friends at AX Plumbing, home or residential. They can do it all. Check out axpservice.com for all your plumbing, water heater, gas piping, and backflow prevention issues. AX Plumbing is locally owned and operated. They'll leave your home or business cleaner than they found it. Check out axpservice.com to get all your plumbing issues fixed today. We'll be right back, giving you our Papillion Sanitation trash takes of the night. We'll come back on 1620 Zone.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here for Cunningham's Pub and Grill. You like wings? Do you like Wednesday? I don't know why you would like Wednesday, but for Wing Wednesday, that's right. We got Wing Wednesday with Cunningham's. Every week, you can get yourself a $25 gift card. All you got to do is follow us on social media, retweet the gift. We'll get you entered into that drawing for a $25 gift card to one of the 2 great locations for Cunningham's, 108th and Old Mill or in Blackstone. Same great menu at both places. All the great TVs, all the best sporting events, all the great menu items, including the smoked wings. Yes, that's right. The smoked chicken wings. They're all great flavors, but my favorites are the blueberry sriracha, the chipotle barbecue, and the 4-alarm, which has just enough kick to get you going on a cold winter's night. Everything on the menu is great. And look, this Wednesday, Derek told us the new menu items should be coming out. That classic cheeseburger that he brought us last week. My goodness, it's one of the best I've ever had, and I'm not joking. It was fabulous. You need to get out there. If you haven't been in a while, maybe you're familiar with Cunningham's. The new menu's coming out soon. You need to get over there and check out all the new great stuff that Derek and the crew have come up with. And don't forget to get entered to win that $25 gift card. It's Wing Wednesday with Cunningham's.
Wrapping up the After Hours Lounge on a Monday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. Head over to pyramidroof.com. Book a free estimate for your windows, your gutters, your siding, your roof. They can do it all. Check out pyramidroof.com tonight. It is time for our Papillion Sanitation Trash Takes tonight. What we'll do here is myself, John Schreiner, Dan Campen, and Brody Heidemann. We'll all give you a hot take to close out the night. We'll put a poll up on Twitter. You'll vote for who had the trash or who had the best take. Whoever gets the least amount of votes will have the trashiest take of the evening. I'm going to start us off. We've talked about Aaron Rodgers a lot tonight and being done. Travis Kelce is done. This will be the last year that Travis Kelce plays football. Otherwise, the Chiefs
I hope so.
are going to have a really tough discussion about the future with and without him. And I don't think he wants that to happen. I think if they win or lose, but I think it's a lot easier for him to walk out on top if they win another Super Bowl.
I hope so. I'm done with Travis Kelce. I'm done with the stories. I'm done with all of it. The trash talk.
John, you got to fight for your rights.
I'm just over it.
The party.
Man. Over it. Entering Sunday's competition, Patrick Mahomes was, by my estimation, the third best quarterback to ever play the game.
Okay.
Following Sunday's competition, Patrick Mahomes is now the second best quarterback in NFL history.
Behind Brady?
Behind Tom Brady. And
you put him ahead of Joe Montana then, I'm assuming?
Yep.
Okay.
I
just making sure you correctly numbered these.
No, I like it was like Peyton Manning, Joe Montana. Like that was kind of like T2 for me. Patrick Mahomes is ahead of both of them now. He's accomplished enough in multiple seasons consecutively that I think it's undeniable at this point. Like the accomplishments now match the talent and what you see with your eyes. So I think you know my disdain for the Kansas City Chiefs and their fandom. It's undeniable, though. You have to be honest at some point.
Yeah. I mean, he's the best player in football right now.
He's the best player in football. He's the best player of his generation. And by the time he's done, he's got a chance to pass Brady.
Colin made a really good point earlier. He weighed in and said, sounds like you're going to disrespect the Chiefs here. You got to remember you're betting against the Chiefs and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes on 2 weeks of preparation time if you're taking the Eagles. It's a good point. Dan, trash take time?
Yes, it is. On January 2nd, a man said, I'm going to use my $52 million player option to leverage a trade. And then on January 22nd, he said, you know what? I don't really feel like going to Milwaukee with you guys. I'm actually going to take my own private plane. And then today at practice, they said, well, sir, you are going to be coming off the bench. And he said, you know what? If I'm going to be coming off the bench, I don't need to practice.
And
that man's name is Jimothy Butler.
And that was my hot take as well.
Pat Riley, the writing's been on the wall. And you know what? This is actually going to be even funnier to you, Pat. He said it to you, to your face. Just trade Jimmy Butler.
He is a crybaby.
Get him out of there.
Brody, that's your take?
That was my take. I was going to say Jimmy Butler is a crybaby.
All right, we'll just combine those two.
He does not need to be out here crying. He's arguably the reason why the Heat are rated 500 and they've been a top team in the East the past few seasons, and now the regression because of no Jimmy Butler. And also when you have that in the locker room,
yeah,
it's not going to be good.
Makes other people not want to be there too. I agree with you. Hey, if you missed any of the show tonight, our trash takes tonight, we're brought to you by Papillion Sanitation, but the rest of the show is brought to you by Aloe Fiber, empowering companies since 2003, offering suites and integration products to services that allow you to focus on running your own business, not worrying about your IT issues. If you need a managed service provider that's going to worry about it managing your data, your internet, your cybersecurity, your voice solutions, your technology, and the solutions that come along with it, head over to aloebusiness.com tonight. Learn how Aloe Fiber can benefit your company behind the scenes. Head over to aloefiber.com or aloebusiness or aloefiber.com tonight. For Brody Heidemann, Dan Campen, and John Schreiner, I've been Jimmy Allen. Happy National Chocolate Cake Day, everybody.
Just give me a cherry pie.